Okay, the next step in this project is to add some resources, some furniture, we're going to do what's called a image prop, and we'll do that first. We'll start with the image prop. So what an image prop is something that takes a two-dimensional image and will apply it as a three-dimensional object in the 3D model. So I want to put a background on this. I've got a sort of wall in the background here, and we're going to see that through the window. So I'm going to import an image file in here, and you can do anything from, sunset. You can do a city backdrop. You can do anything that you can find that works for what that image would be. You can create something in Photoshop, anything you'd like to do. Turn it into a JPEG and import it into Vectorworks to use as this image prop. So I've already found the sunset that I want to use. So I'm going to open that up. And I may have imported this once before, so I'm just going to name that Sunset 01. Now I need to know how wide that object was, and if I remember correctly, I made that 44 foot. So if I had forgotten that, I might have to cancel this, go back, measure it so that I can get the right width on here. If you guess incorrectly, you can always go back and change the dimensions. You're not stuck doing this right now. For this one, I'm going to unlock the aspect ratio because it's going to look a little bit squished, but it's going to fit my this background piece perfectly. Now, since I'm using the full image, I don't need to use a mask. We'll go over how to use the mask and what that means in a separate video. And for this one, I want to uncheck this auto rotate to viewer. If I left that checked, if every time I use my flyover tool or change the orientation here, it would make this image, this two-dimensional image, kind of follow me. That's useful if you're doing something that you want to give the appearance of being three-dimensional, something like a plant. So you can actually put in a picture of a plant, and as you move around in the file, the sort of face of the plant follows you, and it gives the illusion of it being 3 dimensions. But for right now, we're just going to leave this alone. And then this constant reflectivity is one that I will sometimes uncheck. This just means it, even in a dark environment, like if I turned off all the lights in the area, it would still appear just like the JPEG image that it is. So that's useful for things like if you want it to appear like maybe it's a projection or something like that, which, a projection would appear as a constant lit up object. So we're just going to say okay. It's going to think for a second, and then it's going to plop it down kind of in the middle of your screen. So we need to go to a top view and see where it landed, and then place it, now this is more or less a three-dimensional object, and we want it to be up here with this little masking wall. And really at this point, this masking wall is not necessary anymore. We can move it, line it up with that, and then I usually use the nudge tool, again, shift plus your arrow keys, and nudge it down just a little bit, because if you put that image prop within any object, it's like you just stuck it in a slot. You're not going to be able to see it. So we won't want to do that. Go back to a front view, and again, I like the perspective view of that, and if all went well, we hit OpenGL, and now we can see our sunset through the window. We zoom, fly around, and if we see over the top, we can see that image back in the background. But if we have our normal audience vantage point, they will only see through the window and what's through the window. So, pick an image you like, set up the size that works. And again, if you ever need to change that, you do have some variables here in the object info that you can go and change. So this is where you could change the height and width. You could tell it, I do want to lock the aspect ratio, so on and so forth. If you forget to unclick that auto rotate, you can always click it there. All right, so that is setting up an image prop for just bringing in a full-on image.